Banana Waffle Monkey says, I think part of the issue with getting hyped about things is to create an image of them in your head that doesn't exist. Exactly. No pipe. There's no pipe. Well, there is no cake. Oh, but I see exactly what you mean. Because usually, well, I mean, it depends on the person. But if you do get hyped and paint a picture and then image a picture in your head or whatever, oftentimes, usually it's something that you can't live up to. Well, like now, I did get hyped about Flicker Strike. But I know what I'm getting into. I'm still a bit hyped for Flicker Strike. People getting hyped, it's all about planning, right? Longer term planning. We plant the seeds and we get hyped for the harvest, you know? It makes sense. Hyping stuff up makes sense for humans for sure. Like Banana Waffle Monkey says, it's like get hyped and we create an image that doesn't exist yet. And since that type of planning gives us an evolutionary advantage, would probably hype the harvest up to seem better than it actually is, which drives us humans even more, drives our behavior even more. And that's what the marketing guys have figured out, that the hype is so useful for generating sales. So they hijack our planning system. Well, that's pretty much the gaming industry as a whole at the moment. Hijacking our brains, make us feel good. We can say for sure that getting hyped is a useful trait of humanity. And as with all our traits, people can hijack and manipulate them to manipulate our behavior. More you know, more you can control and not get manipulated by others. Banana Waffle Monkey says, "Oh, here you go." Oh, right. We were talking about conformity experiments the other day. I don't remember the name, but with the 3 lines, one line is longer than the others. You get people to claim that they are the same length by just social manipulation. It seems like Banana Waffle Monkey want to continue that discussion. I'm always happy to do. I've been wondering, he says, under what conditions would a person have to be in order for them to be aware of the impact of conformity and still conform anyways? I mean, awareness gives you power, right? Like I was just saying, it gives you more control. It gives you the, I hesitate to use the word choice. You gain some agency and some control. Let's just put it that way. Since you do have control, it's up to that person and that situation. Context matters, right? It's a very difficult thing to study, since where do the person decide? First of all, in certain situations, if we take that it's called ASH, the line experiment, the conforming experiment. I can figure many situations where I would be completely aware of what was happening, but still conform, like in many social situations. Don't rock the boat, you know? It's a decision between, do you want to stand your ground, or would you want to conform? So if we're talking about experiments again, like designing an experiment to look for this, then we would need where you have to do something that is uncomfortable, right? If I understand your line of questioning correct, to study this, it would have to be uh, a conforming behavior that we know for sure is uncomfortable for the person. Again, an experiment would probably mean actors, which would mean a bunch of total strangers, which is a very different condition than like a wedding or friends or family or whatever. Super difficult to study because we are a social animal, and like our closest relationships matter way more than what stranger thinks, right? And the Ash experiments are sure about strangers. Banana Waffle Monkey says, sounds like a job for that open source data. The issue with your line of questioning is that you need to know the internal thoughts of the person, right, for it to make sense. Because you've been wondering under what conditions would a person be in order to be aware, like the person's awareness. You can't get that from open source data. I mean, you could imply that people are conforming from like studying behavior and whatnot. But as soon as you're looking at internal mental states, it's always a problem studying internal mental states. That's an issue in psychology all over the place. Like studying all internal places, you always have to rely on self-reporting. For a fact that people are not very good at self-reporting. Like if you do an interview with someone who's been part of the ASH experiment and you interview them later, they might even claim to that, no. I honestly thought that the lines were the same length. It's not at all too difficult to assume that. And also we can't, since again it's a self-reporting thing, we can't know for sure if the person is lying or not. Maybe they did look the same length. Maybe the conformity thing like changes perspective rather than changing behavior. We can't know. Yeah, studying human behavior and thoughts is very interesting. Yeah, conformity is a super interesting field that has been studied for a long time in psychology for sure. Banana Waffle Monkey asks me, do you read the XKCD comics? Oh, we got a specific comic as well. Blag. Webcomics of romance, sarcasm, math, and language. Nice. Okay, so there's two women probably. Looks like an interview or a boss dude talking to someone else. We're concerned that some of your results may be tainted by the fact that your human subjects are awful. What do you mean? Several participants in your drug trial were arrested for arson. Side effects can be unpredictable. They were in the control group. In your prisoner's dilemma study, that's the Stanford prison experiment. In your prisoner's dilemma study, 80% of the participants chose to betray their partners before the experimenter had a chance to tell them about their reward. Definitely troubling. In one experiment, your subjects repeatedly gave electric shocks to a stranger in another room. That's a famous psychological... This was a study of moisturizing creams. Yes, we're not sure how they snuck in all that equipment. Alright, this is fun.